Okay, so most of you should know by now, and if you don't know, I'll tell you that Noah's autistic with severe sensory processing. He has ADHD, and he struggles with a lot of other things as well, but those are his main diagnoses. And we've known since he was 2. We have gone back and forth between trying to put him in public school and homeschooling. School is tough for Noah. Recently, he wanted to try to go back to school. He wants to make friends. He is a very social kid, which isn't typical for kids on the spectrum, but for Noah, he's a social autistic kid. And he wanted to try to make friends. He wanted to try to go back to school, and we supported that. I spent a really long time trying to find the best school that would fit Noah's needs, and we thought that we had found that school. It took a lot of convincing for me to even try to put him back in public school, because every public school that I thought was a good fit for Noah ended up being a massive failure. And it ended up traumatizing him. So I really vetted this school. And I felt really good about putting Noah in this school, especially after our first meeting. I felt really good about it. I felt good about the teachers. I felt good about the staff. I really felt like this would be a good fit for him. And so first week was iffy. Some days were good, some days were rough. Second week rolls around and they suspend him. They suspend him. They did exactly what we told them not to do when he has a meltdown, which he's gonna have because he's severe sensory processing. So if he gets overwhelmed, he's gonna have a meltdown. We specifically went over what to do when he has a meltdown. We broke it down. If he has a meltdown, this is what you do. A, B, C, D. We went in between A and B, in between B and C. Like, it was foolproof. Not only that, we offered to go to the school to give him a medicine that helps calm him down. All they had to do was call us. We offered for them to call us, for us to go into the classroom to help calm him down. We live literally 3 minutes driveway to front door of that school. There were so many options in place for this school to help my son in every situation. They chose not to take it. They chose not to follow, number 1, his IEP. Number 2, the protocols that we had set in place during his IEP meeting. And number 3, they chose to go against every training that there is in dealing with a child with disabilities. And I would know because I've been a sign language teacher for 15 years. They chose these options and instead decide to put hands on my child. They chose to go against all of these things and instead put their hands on my child and hurt him, and then blame my child for his behavior escalating when they could have easily de-escalated the situation in over 10 different ways. And then they chose to suspend him. The second week he was at that school. That should have been my first red flag. It was a red flag. And I chose to hold the school accountable. The school didn't like that very much. I didn't care. I'm my child's advocate. I'm there to make sure my son is okay and he's getting the treatment he deserves and the education that he needs. So I called a meeting. In that meeting, I held everyone accountable. Everyone shifted the blame on an 8-year-old little boy who was in fight or flight mode, who had 5 teachers cornering him in a classroom, who didn't follow protocol. It was unacceptable. So I did what every special needs parent should do. And if you are a special needs parent, listen closely to me. Copy the supervisor and director of pupil services in your county on every email. If you have a meeting, summarize that meeting and make sure you copy that supervisor for pupil services. Because if you don't put it in writing, guess what? It didn't happen. If you don't put it in writing and send it to that supervisor, guess what? It didn't happen. So I started putting everything in writing and copying the director of pupil services for our county. School didn't like that. So there's more retaliation against my son. They started calling us an hour to an hour and a half after school started every day to come pick up my son because he was having a meltdown. Instead of trying to help him through it, no, they just want us to come pick him up. So we went and picked him up because we weren't going to give the school another opportunity to put their hands on my son and hurt him. So we went and picked him up. Then we started getting threatening letters for truancy because my son wasn't in school. So they started counting those days as unexcused absences. That wasn't okay with me. So I sent another email. Copied the director of pupil services. I said I wanted a meeting to discuss this. Didn't get a response back. I sent another email. Copied the director of pupil services. That finally did get a response. But the times that we said that we could meet conveniently were times when the principal of the school said she couldn't meet. So we have to change our schedule around for her. Okay, fine, we'll play the game. We changed our schedule around to meet her. But we made sure to copy the director of pupil services. So then yesterday happened. Yesterday, an hour into the school day, I get a phone call that my son's having a meltdown. I talk to him on the phone a little bit. I try to help him through it. We get off the phone. He's still a little upset, but it seems like we'll have a good day. No more than 15 minutes later, I get a phone call from his teacher screaming at me to come get my son because he's, quote unquote, tearing up her classroom. She's literally screaming. That's not how you de-escalate a child. I don't hear my son in the background screaming. I don't hear him screaming. I don't hear him crying. I don't hear anything being thrown. All I hear is the teacher screaming. So then my husband goes to get him, brings him home. His chin, and I'll put a picture of it up here, is swollen 2 times its size and red. I asked what happened. The teacher grabbed him on his arm very forcefully. He went to pull away. She let go, and he fell and hit his chin. There was no reason for her to put her hands on my son, ever. Ever. And now he got hurt because of it. So I do what I know to do. I follow up with an email. Why did the teacher put hands on my son? My son's now hurt. Copy the director of pupil services. Get an email back from the principal. We'll follow up with a DCF investigation because a teacher put her hands on a student. But the teacher's recollection is different. Oh, well, I'm sure it is. I'm sure the teacher's recollection is different because she doesn't want to get in trouble. So the day goes on. Noah's chin swollen. It hurts him to eat. Then about 5:30, 6 o'clock, Noah's outside playing with his friends. My husband's outside. I lay down to take a little nap because I have a raging migraine from all of this crap going on with the school. DCF and the sheriff roll up at our house. We're thinking, or my husband's thinking, hey, this is just, the school investigation. No. The school puts in a retaliatory report about our home. Yeah. That we have too many pets. Noah smells like animals. There's no structure in our home. Noah doesn't respond to authority, which is hilarious to me because my child wants to grow up and be in the military. He loves veterans. He loves the police. He geeks out over police officers, anyone that he sees that's a military uniform. I mean, he runs around here in his military dress up all the time and pretends he's in the military. Like, if my child could be 8 years old and go into the military, he'd go into the military. And no one from the school knows anything about our home. So I find this infuriating and hilarious at the same time. So it doesn't take long for the DCF lady to know that this is not a valid report. Here's one of our animals that's fully litter trained. She's also special needs, and I've had her for 7 years. Her name's Allie. We're not gonna let them hate on Allie. So, it doesn't take her long to figure out this is not a substantial claim. Sheriff rolls up, looks at the report from the school, looks at the report they made on us, and immediately says, "Is this a retaliatory report?" DCF lady shakes her head. John's shaking his head. And about that time, I text John. I'm like, "Hey, where are you guys? I hear the dogs barking, but Allie wants to help. But I don't see you guys." And John's like, "Hey, I'm outside with DCF." And I'm thinking, oh, it's for the school. So I go out, and then I find out that they made this report. First thing I said is, "Oh, this sounds retaliatory to me." Everybody starts laughing. It's immediately dismissed. It's marked as a retaliatory report from the school about home, and all is well. Everything's good. And the whole time they're here, Noah's outside. He's playing with all the neighborhood kids. Some of them are younger than him. Some of them are older than him. He's coming over. He's talking to the sheriff. He's talking to the DCF lady. He's asking if he can, go get more toys from inside the house, where he should put the toys they're done playing with. Our normal daily interactions. And they're like, he has no problem with authority. He's super respectful. He's playing well with his peers. They're like what is this claim? And we're wondering the same thing. So this is the school that we vetted, that we thought would be great for our son. And here, come to find out, is They can't handle an autistic child with sensory processing. They have no idea how to handle his meltdowns or any kind of crisis management. And then when you hold them accountable, they retaliate against you. I'm talking about you, Sunrise Elementary in Palm Bay, Florida. I'm talking about you. I'm talking about your administration, your principal and your vice principal. I'm talking about your varying exceptionalities classroom teachers. I'm talking about you. Directly about you. This is what you do to your students and your parents who try to hold you accountable. I'm talking directly about you. And I will continue to hold you accountable for the way you treat your students and their parents. This is not okay. This is not okay. You are not qualified for your job. You are not professional, and you should not be around children. If this is what you think education is about, you should not be an educator. This is what our family has been going through since January, since we decided to put Noah into that school that we thought was so good for him. And now our child is scared to go back to school because he's scared that the principal and the vice principal and his teacher are going to put their hands on him and hurt him again. I'm not worried about whatever they want to say about us because I know we are doing nothing wrong as parents. I know we're doing everything right. Because if we weren't, they wouldn't be spreading lies about us. So as a parent to other parents of kids out there that have autism, or in the case of our nephew who has Down syndrome, who's also been going through the gamut at his school, always copy the director of pupil services on your emails, because if you don't put it in writing and send it to somebody higher than those who are giving you a hard time, it didn't happen. Put it in writing so there's a record, and make sure you send it to a higher above so that there is record that it did happen. Don't let anybody intimidate you, because you are your child's advocate. You are your child's advocate, and you know what's best for them. And don't ever let anybody intimidate you, because you are all that they've got. And finally, if your child is scared, there's a reason that they're scared. Listen to them. And don't let anybody turn anything around on your child. Teachers don't always get it right. Listen to your child. They're telling you the truth. So until next time, I'll keep you guys posted on how this all plays out. We are pursuing legal action, and we'll keep you guys posted on how this plays out. If you guys have any questions, I'm gonna actually open up my comments. If you don't have something nice to say, just keep going, because I don't have time to hear it. If you have questions and want to know what to do in certain situations, or have questions about our situation, or you're in a situation like ours and need advice, I'll try to get to you as quick as I can, because I'm here for you. I'm here to help you, and I know we're not the only ones. I know parents all over the country are going through the same thing. Our education system is going down the tube, and there are so many other parents and like us, and students like Noah, and I want to be there for you, and I will try to get to you as quick as I can. All right, guys, I'll keep you posted. Bye.